Okay guys, so today I'm going to show you how to change your wheel bearings on a 2000, mine's a 2003 Ford Ranger that's two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive wheel bearings in the front are actually a hub assembly, so that's a different procedure. But for two-wheel drive, it's actually pretty simple. Of course, first you jack up the truck. Make sure you have it supported. I don't, because I forgot my jack stand, so if you do it the sketchy way that I'm doing it, keep your limbs away from underneath the vehicle, obviously. But I already have this side off. It's really simple. You take off your brake caliper and mount for the brake caliper. I believe that is a 14mm bolt. For the smaller ones on the actual caliper, there's two of them. Then there's two more there for the caliper mount. Those are 15mm. Then that can be out of the way, just put it up there so it's not hanging off the hose. As far as taking off the actual rotor, let's see. So first, of course, you take off the dust cap. You can just either use like channel locks or something, but don't clamp down on it because it's kind of thin metal and you don't want to bend the heck out of it. Take that off. There should be a cotter pin first. Take that off, and then there's kind of like a lock cover that'll go over the nut. That's just to keep the nut from backing off. Take that off. The nut, you should be able to get that off with a wrench very lightly. Again, I don't really have all the proper tools with me here. I forgot to bring all the tools that I needed, but I should be able to get it done. Once that's off, you can slide it off pretty easy. And I'll walk over the bench here. And on the rotor, for the front, it'll come off very easily because it's just obviously sitting there because the nut's what held it on. It'll be that flat washer and then the wheel bearing after that. So when that comes out, there's a race in there that needs to be knocked out, so you can replace that with a new race. You don't want to reuse races because those have wear patterns in it from the old wheel bearings. If you reuse that, you'll just prematurely wear out the new ones. As far as on the back, just put that on the back. The rear wheel bearing, there is a seal. You need to get that out. You can just use a screwdriver and pry that out. It pops right out pretty easy, and then the wheel bearing will come out. It just sits in there from that. But as far as this one, you can see that or not, there shouldn't be that kind of play in it. These are definitely bad. So, okay, I guess I'll move on to the next step. I'll get the new stuff out of the box and kind of do a side-by-side comparison. Alright, got my new stuff out and ready. Obviously, when you get in the box, it's going to come with the bearing and the race, as you can see. And you have to be mindful when installing the races that you do it the correct way, because they are tapered. Like this one, it tapers smaller to the bottom there. So obviously, you want to hit that in. That way, when you put it in, the bearing slides right in flush. If you do it wrong way, you'll know, because it won't push down all the way. That's same goes for the rear bearing. This one, it's a little bit more obvious because, I mean, it's bigger, so it's easier to see there's a taper to it. So obviously, when you put it in, the taper will go towards the front for the back one. When those are put in, nice new seal. When you hit it, try to not, hit the seal part that contacts the actual spindle, because if you do, then you lose grease, and then you'll eventually have dry bearings, and then they'll fail. So my next step here is to remove these old races. I mean, it's pretty easy. You can easily see that there's a lip there. So with the rotor facing down like that, you can take even something like an extension and smack them out of there. You can be a little bit more rough with the old ones because obviously they're junk. Same for the rear. Flip it over, hit the lip, try to hit evenly, don't just hit one side, because then it won't come out as easy. Should be common sense, but you never know. Alright, so now I got the old races out for the bearings. To do that, I just use a hammer and a brass punch. That way I didn't mar up the sides too much, but I mean, it won't make too much of a difference, but just to be safe. The smaller one, that one came out basically in 3 smacks. I hit, like, you know, top, bottom, and then the third hit fell out. As far as the bottom, the inner race, that one was she put up a little bit more of a fight. I think just because it's got a lot more surface area to travel, because it goes all the way down on to that lip there. So it just took a couple more minutes, but it's definitely doable. Don't be discouraged if it's taking you a while. Just keep at it, keep hitting evenly, and eventually it'll come out. Now I'm gonna put on the new races and go from there. Make sure before you put them in, you wipe out all the old grease, and then you can pack them with new grease. Also, with the bearings, you have to pack those with grease too, because you don't want to put them in. I mean, they're oiled, but that's just to keep them from rusting during shipping. As far as packing those, you can wear gloves if you don't like to get dirty, but you shouldn't be working if you don't like to get dirty. Just grab a handful of grease, and then, you know, grab the bearing and pack it on your hand so the grease goes up to the top. When you start to see it come out the top, turn it, keep at it until there's grease evenly all the way around coming out the top. That way you know the entire surface area is greased. So I'm gonna get to it. Alright, now I greased up the rear bearing and installed that, and then I popped in the rear seal there. As far as that kind of went just in, like I said, make sure you grease it up real good and put some in the center of it. That way there's some residual grease, you know, to disperse while you're driving. Now I'm gonna grease up the front bearing, and then I can pop this back on. I already have the races installed, obviously. And they went on pretty easy. Alright, now I got the rotor back on the truck. As far as putting it on, I mean, you just slide it on slowly. Just turn it kind of as you're doing it. That way the seal in the back will seal properly. You don't want to like force it in and then tear the seal. Then you put the front bearing on, followed by the flat washer. There's like a notch in it on the spindle, so it only goes on at a certain positioning. Once you put that on, put the nut on. As you're tightening it, turn the rotor just to help seat the bearings better. So that way you're not forcing anything, there's no binding. When you tighten it down, tighten it, let's see, what is it? I think it's 12 inch-pounds. And then when you do that, back it off half a turn, turn it more, and then I think it's like 15 to 17 inch-pounds, and that should be good, and there shouldn't be any play, and there shouldn't be any drag on it as well. But if you don't have a torque wrench, you can tighten it until you know, you grab the top of the rotor, and as long as it doesn't wiggle, you don't have any, you know, play, then it should be properly seated and you'll be good. Just don't over tighten them, because you don't want to prematurely wear out your bearings. So hopefully this is a good poor man's way of showing you how to replace your wheel bearings yourself, and, you know, save several $100s not having a garage do it for you. I know I'm saving money, and I plan on keeping this truck for a while, so any maintenance I can do is a win for me. Hope this helps someone. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll pretty much get back to you immediately. Done. Alright, I feel like an idiot because in my last clip I said, you know, you tighten it, torque it down and all that properly, and then you're done. There's still one more part to install. This is the part that goes over the nut, and when you put that in, that just kind of keeps the nut from backing off, because obviously it's not going to be snugged down to hell. But you have to put that on and find the right set of holes here to stick the cotter pin through all the way. Let's see, where is the hole? Just like that. Cotter pin sticks through all the way. Now obviously you bend the cotter pin out so it doesn't fall out. I mean, obviously, but make sure you do that. Don't reuse cotter pins because that's how failures happen. So I thought I'd add that little snippet in there. Hope this helps.